Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff. Not a physical one. This precipice is invisible, woven into the fabric of your daily life. Below stretches everything you could become, the career you dream of, the relationships that would fulfill you, the version of yourself that feels authentic and unafraid. But your feet won't move. Something holds you back, not ropes or chains, but something far more insidious. The stories you've swallowed whole about who you are and what you're allowed to be. This isn't just fear. This is the fear that keeps you small. Consider this contradiction. You are living in the most opportunity-rich era in human history. Yet 67% of people admit to rejecting promotions they wanted. 9% harbor creative dreams they never pursue. The average person spends 4 hours daily in avoidance behaviors. Why? Because we've mistaken comfort for safety and familiarity for freedom. Ask yourself, what have you talked yourself out of this week? Who might you have been, if not for that voice whispering, who do you think you are? How many of your limits are real and how many were handed to you like inherited curses? The birth of the inner jailer. Every limiting belief began as a protective mechanism. Childhood, don't speak up, it's safer. A misinterpreted lesson, adolescence, failure and shame. A cultural hypnosis, adulthood, stay in your lane. Now these once useful instincts have become psychological Stockholm syndrome. You defend the very walls that confine you. The great lie we've been sold dangerous myths. Follow your passion, when research shows passion follows mastery. Fake it till you make it, which creates imposter syndrome. Just be confident, as if confidence exists without action. Worst of all, you should feel ready first. Truth, readiness comes after the leap, never before. What if your fear isn't a warning sign but the final barrier between you and your life? What if the stories keeping you small aren't protecting you, they're protecting your limitations? Because this isn't about motivation or willpower. It's about something far older. A human vulnerability that doesn't just live in your mind, but in your very biology. That voice whispering, "Stay small," isn't your conscience. It's the ghost of every survival instinct that once kept your ancestors alive. We've mistaken evolutionary wisdom for personal truth, and the cost is staggering. The evolutionary paradox. Our brains contain 3 ancient warning systems: the amygdala's alarm, fear of unfamiliar territory; the dopamine dilemma, preference for predictable rewards; the social compliance circuit, terror of tribal rejection. In our modern world, these mechanisms misfire catastrophically. Applying for a promotion triggers the same panic as facing a saber-toothed tiger. Pursuing creative work feels as risky as ancient hunters leaving their clan. Social media has weaponized tribal rejection into 24/7 performance anxiety. Schopenhauer's pendulum. The philosopher observed, man swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. Today, we've added a third state, the agony of potential unrealized. Our avoidance creates existential pain, knowing we're playing small. Neurological boredom, understimulation from safe choices, spiritual fatigue, the energy required to maintain the lie. Jung's shadow of mediocrity, what we call imposter syndrome, is often disowned ambition, fear of outshining family friends, repressed genius, childhood gifts punished as showing off, spiritual betrayal, sacrificing calling for comfort. The shadow doesn't just hide our darkness, it buries our light where we won't risk retrieving it. The Huxleyan seduction modern society offers 2 poisoned gifts: distraction anesthesia, endless scrolling numbs existential dread. Achievement. A theater, busyness replaces actual progress. We've been conditioned to prefer the certainty of dissatisfaction over the terror of freedom, the familiar prison over the unknown wilderness. Frankl's missing compass, Viktor Frankl's concentration camp, research revealed an iron law. Humans need meaning more than comfort. Yet we've built lives where safety has become the meaning. Risk is pathologized as poor judgment. The ultimate sin isn't failure, it's conspicuous effort. This isn't just personal suffering. The societal fallout is already here. In our dying art, our hollowed-out communities, and a generation that can't distinguish living from surviving, you tell yourself playing small only hurts you. But while you've been hiding, something far more sinister has been unfolding, not just in your life, but in the collective psyche of our civilization. 1. The atrophy of potential neuroscience reveals terrifying truths. Synaptic pruning eliminates unused neural pathways by age 30. The learned helplessness circuit strengthens with each unchallenged fear. Stress hormones from unrealized potential cause cellular aging. You're not just avoiding risk, you're biologically dismantling your capacity for courage. 2. The social contagion of smallness fear is communicable. Parents transmit survival biases to children as practical advice. Offices reward compliance over genius through promotion. Patterns. Social media amplifies imposter syndrome via comparison. The traps. We've created an ecosystem where playing small is the norm, and ambition is pathologized as delusional if you lack credentials, selfish if it inconveniences others, unrealistic if no one in your family has done it. E. The death of cultural greatness. History's greatest innovations came from % who ignored realistic constraints, % who leveraged their neuroses into genius, % who were too naive to know something was impossible. Our risk aversion culture is systematically filtering out these outliers through standardized education, medicating their restlessness as ADHD, shaming their intensity as too much. The spiritual bankruptcy. The most devastating consequence isn't measurable in lost achievements. 2% of adults report phantom grief for unlived lives. Chronic fatigue syndrome correlates strongly with repressed ambition. The midlife crisis isn't about aging. It's about awakening to your own self-betrayal. The generational reckoning data shows Gen Z reports 3E sex. The anxiety of baby boomers at same age. 57% of young adults believe it's too late to pursue dreams by age 30. Workplace disengagement costs the global economy $8.8 trillion annually. We're facing not an ambition crisis, but a meaning crisis, where safety has become the only value left. But there's a way out, one that doesn't require reckless abandon or selfishness. The solution begins with understanding that your fear isn't the enemy, it's the final test. How to break free. The system wants you to believe you have two choices. Stay small and hate yourself quietly. Go big and risk spectacular failure. But there's a third path, one that weaponizes your fear rather than surrendering to it. 1. The fear inversion protocol. Not courage, not recklessness. Strategic trembling. Phase 1. Week 1 to 2. Map your fear's physical signature. Racing heart, cold hands. When it appears, whisper, "This is the feeling of growth." Track how long the sensation lasts. Most peak at 90 seconds. Phase 2. Week 3 to 4. Create controlled tremors. Small daily actions that trigger mild fear. Send that email you've overthought. Wear something that draws 3 seconds of attention. Say no to a request that drains you. Phase 3, month 2+. Institute fear resets exercise. When anxiety hits, ask, is this fear protecting me or imprisoning me? The ambition detox. Modern society has poisoned ambition with hustle culture, glorifying burnout, comparison traps, measuring against others' highlights, all or nothing thinking. Antidote. Replace "how can I be great" with "what would make today meaningful. Practice reverse goal setting may define what you'll stop tolerating. Measure progress in fear dollars spent rather than external validation. The shadow integration ritual. Your fear contains buried gold. Weekly practice. Light a candle facing a blank wall. Project your fear onto the wall. Imagine it as a shape in creature. Ask it, what are you protecting me from? Listen for the answer in your body, not your thoughts. Jungian insight. This externalizes fear as a separate entity you can negotiate with, not an intrinsic part of you. 4. The anti-mentor method. Stop seeking gurus. Instead, study historical figures who failed spectacularly before succeeding. Collect anti-role models, people who embody what you don't want. Create a failure resume, documenting your best screw-ups. It works. Normalizes struggle as part of the process, not proof of inadequacy. 5. The tribal reset. Your environment is either amplifying or neutralizing your fear. Digital. Unfollow inspiration accounts that trigger comparison. Join 1 to 2 communities where struggling out loud is encouraged. Physical. Identify 3 places that make you feel expansive. Cafes, parks. Notice 3 people who energize versus drain you. Conduct a fear audit of your home workspaces. These tactics work, but only if you confront the ultimate truth about why fear feels so convincing. The final revelation isn't about overcoming fear, but alchemizing it. Fear as sacred. Fuel. Here's the secret your fear never wanted you to discover. Your terror of failure isn't a flaw, it's the shadow side of your highest potential. This changes everything. 1. The alchemy of limitation. Every great creation myth involves the fall, loss of innocence, the underworld, confronting shadows, the return, transformed wisdom. Your fear is the threshold guardian standing between who you've been, the safe, small self, who you must become, the self that terrifies you. Neurological proof. fMRI scans show the brain regions activated during fear and excitement are nearly identical. The difference? The story you tell yourself. The Nietzschean crucible. Nietzsche's zoo. Most misunderstood insight. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. Your fear is the chaos before creation, the friction that forges resilience, the necessary shadow that makes your light visible. Experiment. For 1 week, rename your fear as excitement in disguise and watch what happens. The Frankl shift. Victor Frankl's Auschwitz discovery applies here. When we can't change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The modern parallel. You can't eliminate evolutionary fear wiring, but you can repurpose its energy. Every "what if I fail" contains a hidden "what if I fly." Tonight, perform this ritual. Light a candle in darkness. Hold 2 objects, one representing your biggest fear, a rejection letter, empty bank statement, one representing your wildest dream, a book you'd write, award you'd win. Ask aloud, which of these is truly dangerous? The answer will shock you. Your fear was never the enemy. It was the bridge, the initiator, the price of admission to a life that would thrill your soul. The world needs your unlived lives, your shelved ideas, your too muchness. That voice whispering, "Who do you think you are?" was always meant to be answered with, "Watch me find out."